sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years. The hills fill my heart with the sound of music. My heart wants to sing every song it hears. My heart wants to beat like the wings of the birds that rise from the lake to the trees. My heart wants to sigh like a chime that flies from a church on a breeze, to laugh like a brook when it trips and falls over stones on its way, to sing through the night like a lark who is learning to pray. I go to the hills when my heart is lonely. I know I will hear what I've heard before. My heart will be blessed with the sound of music, and I'll sing once more.
A warm welcome to you all. I am Allison Cornish, and I am here both as a co-officiant with my UU colleague and friend John, and also as Jenny's cousin. Jenny asked that the two of us be the ones to stand before you today in this role, a task both joyful to celebrate Jenny in word and music and stories, and also with inevitable tears, to mourn the loss of her life-filled and loving presence among us. Jenny also organized the music, and we're so grateful for Jimmy and Cindy and the gang that are providing our music today. On behalf of Jenny's family, we welcome you all, extended family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, companions, fellow musicians, and partners in work and travel and a lot of fun. We welcome those of you here in the sanctuary, those joining online, and also those who could not be here today. May we all be mindful that we who are gathered represent many who cannot be here, but still with your presence, their spirits abide with us. We carry with us the presence of ancestors, of extended families, and the larger circle of friends to this gathering. And although this occasion is one of death, we meet here to pay homage to the spirit of life, and in particular, Jenny's gregarious, generous, joyful spirit. Our voices may be the voices of loss, but the language after which loss gropes is the language of love. And we who gather here come to express our trust in the immortal and consecrating power of love.
My name is John Gibbons, and it is a privilege to be here with Allison and with all of you. Jenny's stepdad, George, gave me a job in 1974. I have become some sort of chaplain to this family, this whole famdamily, and ever since, it has been one threshold moment after another. This is another threshold moment. Knowing Jenny has been a privilege with far more joy than sorrow and a lot of laughter, especially Jenny's easy, uninhibited laughter, loud, raucous, howling, almost snorting laughter. With Jenny, I never had to worry about keeping up my end of the conversation. She could tell stories, and she could also cut to the chase and speak the truth in love, clearly enunciating every syllable. And it was Jenny and Anne who asked my wife Sue and me to have a small but special role in their family, no laughing matter, thus Ben and Olivia. We are all so lucky to have these four in our lives. Sue's and my son Eric says that for him as a kid, of all the adults in our extended family, Jenny was the most fun. May today be a testimony to all our sadness, but most especially to our great good fortune that Jenny was and will remain in all our lives. In a moment, Anne, Ben, and Olivia will light 4 candles, including one for Jenny, recalling the enduring light of her life and their life together as a family. We recall the words of Albert Schweitzer, "At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us." Jenny's light is eternal, and her memory is a blessing. Now is the time for Anne and Olivia and Ben to light these candles.
friends I've made speak for me. Let the friends I've made speak for me. When I come to the end of this road and I lay down my heavy load, let the friends I've made speak for me. Let the work I've done speak for me. Let the work I've done speak for me. When I come to the end of this road and I lay down my heavy load, let the work I've done speak for me. Let the love I've shared speak for me. Let the love I've shared speak for me. When I come to the end of this road and I lay down my heavy load, let the love I've shared speak for me. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
John and Sean, you're up.
Thank you all for coming today and sharing this with our family and friends. Anne asked me to do a reading today that was written by Katharine Hepburn, who was one of Jenny's heroes. I remember Jenny had written correspondence with Ms. Hepburn, and when Jenny received a personalized letter back, she was thrilled. This quote speaks to me in respect to the relationship I had with Jenny. There were many times in my life, for example, dealing with my late wife Patty's end-of-life care, when Jenny was truly there for me with the kind of love described in this quote from the book by Katharine Hepburn, From Me, Stories of My Life, published in 1992. Love has nothing to do with what you are expecting to get, only what you are expecting to give. which is everything. What you will receive in return varies, but it really has no connection with what you give. You give because you love and cannot help giving.
Thanks, John. Jenny is a light, as John Gibbons mentioned, and a spark, to say the least. Many things I didn't know as a 20-year-old. Jenny brought me back into the family fold, and there are just numerous things that she was able to teach all of us over time. But for me, it was how to be a parent, how not to be afraid of being a parent. And I just followed her lead and Ann's lead for many years. I mean, as we all know, she was a medical concierge to many people in the family and far beyond, with many words of wisdom. And I think about all of those guiding things that she did for myself and my family, and some friends, and even recently helping guide through some medical issues while she was dealing with catastrophic medical issues of her own. Absolutely the most giving person I will ever know. Anne picked something very appropriate from the musical Wicked, a verse by Stephen Schwartz that I'd like to read. And I will say, I felt like my enduring memory of Jenny is swimming in the pond with her and Brewster toward the end. And Anne said, please go out with her and make sure she's safe. And I just I'll cherish those 40 minutes in the pond as long as I live. And we had such a wonderful conversation that day. But from Stephen Schwartz and Wicked, I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn. And we are led to those people who help us most to grow, if we let them, and we keep them in return, and we help them in return.
You may have noticed the insert in your program. There's some words there. They're for you. Feel free. There was a time gone by when my heart brushed the sky, and a simple love was the love I knew. We walked as one back then, untouched by why or when. Now once again I remember you. We danced, we clicked our heels, we dreamed in feathered fields, and told the stories that lovers tell. You sang the songs I knew and made them all seem true, with a voice that I loved so well. Did I ever tell you your name was music to me? Did I ever show you from the start? Did I ever know you would fly, oh fly away? Did I ever offer you my heart? Ah, but we were younger then, and touched by restless winds. Soon vivid colors of love turned blue. Now I wonder how you've grown and run the roads I've known. And once again, I remember you. Did I ever tell you your name was music to me? Did I ever show you from the start? Did I ever know you would
though time has come and gone, you sang another song. Still I linger beneath your spell, and how I long to hear those words you whispered near, with their voice that I loved so well. Did I ever tell you your name was music to me? Did I ever show you from the start? Did I ever know you would fly, oh fly away? Did I ever offer you my heart? Did I ever tell you your name was music to me? Did I ever show you from the start? Did I ever know you would fly, oh fly away? Did I ever offer you my heart? Take your time. In a few minutes, we'll hear from those who were close to Jenny. And Jenny in love and in work and in the fullness of life. But first, I'd like to offer this very brief sketch of a very full life, or as I've come to think of it, a life that has some resemblance to a beautiful, well-loved, intricately woven tapestry. Jennifer Dundon was born to Gaby and Tom Dundon in Mount Vernon, New York on February 6, 1959, into a family that would eventually shift and change and morph and grow to include first her brother Johnny, and then her parents' new partners, Dottie for Tom and George for Gaby, and siblings, Sean and Brian and Keith and Dean and Deirdre, and their families and their children, and so many, too many to name here. There was also Aunt Hannah and Uncle Erwin, or my Oma and Opa, close by, and more uncles and aunts and grandparents and cousins in England and Israel. So this is the first, the most fundamental thread in any life story, family. And already we see what a multitudinous, wide-ranging mix it came to be. Now, early on, Jenny showed herself to be the cheerful, fun-loving, talented, determined person we collectively came to know and love. I remember Jenny coming to stay with our family when she and I were on a school vacation. Never had I laughed, danced, sung, run around, played as much as that week. And here's another thread in that tapestry, playfulness and fun. Jenny was all in from such an early age. This thread, so colorful, so textured, drew people to her just to be in her presence. I felt it when we were 10 years old. We all felt it for all of her years. It was also early on that Jenny's keen sense of fairness and justice was revealed, another thread strong as steel cable. Jenny's brother John remembers Jenny at 8 or 9 years old, upset that the town of Brookline's Little League wouldn't allow girls to play baseball. He says she lobbied the league's leaders and thus became the first girl in the local Little League. And John also recalls Jenny's early love of music, and they're going together to concerts at Boston City Hall Park, traveling on the T together, quite young and on their own.
And Gaby remembers Jenny choosing the flute to play early on, something she continued through her whole life. So yet more threads in that tapestry, all the ways Jenny engaged music, singing and playing, an enthusiastic audience member and festival goer. After graduating from Brookline schools, Jenny went on to the University of Rochester, where she majored in psychology, minored in film, 2 more threads added which shone and shimmered in that increasingly rich tapestry. She spent a semester in Dundon, Ireland, learning to play the tin whistle, just as you see on the back of your order of service. And after returning to Boston for her post-college job as a medical assistant at the East Boston Neighborhood Health Clinic, Jenny's life took a life-changing turn when Anne, too, came to work there as an assistant social worker. Anne's first impression? Jenny is loud. Not love at first sight. But then she saw Jenny in action. She saw the depth of care she offered to everyone, to client, to patient, to coworker. What started as a side-by-side coworker became, through deep sharing and hours of conversation and no small adventures, like riding in the car with no floor, that became friendship, then best friends, then a partner in and for life, and then a family. That first encounter was the beginning of solidly loving each other. And that golden thread runs through the heart of Jenny's vivid life tapestry. But before Jenny and Anne were too far down that road, other page, Jenny headed off to Duke University to become a physician assistant. The concentrated program was intense. Jenny's roommate at Duke, Barb, shared these words with Anne. We worked hard studying to do as well as we could, and we learned that we both liked swimming and did laps at the Duke pool, and Jenny introduced me to good music and movies and gave me a great hummus recipe. We shared hours in the library with other classmates and then Friday happy hours and then hours at the food co-op. So Jenny's threads, her passions, and her interests became the common bonds that brought her close to so many of us. And Barb continues, she taught me a lot about being a better person, doing things competently and with integrity, being more empathetic. Jenny was a big presence, and she will always be a big presence in the scope of my life. She is one of my best people. As Jenny's career got underway, so did the creation of Anne and Jenny's family, first Ben's birth, then Olivia's. And with their arrival and the joyful tasks of parenting, a thread of family just got thicker and more robust. Passions were shared. Ben reels them off. Music, movies, outdoors, swimming, road trips, always, always fun. And Olivia brings both her skill and her love of music to our gathering today. And I've had the privilege to see Olivia on stage and witness the shared passion between Jenny and Olivia, Jenny's pride shining through. Jenny excelled at her work, something I had a chance to see firsthand when her stint in the cardiac unit at St. Elizabeth's Hospital coincided with my own chaplaincy training in the same place. We would meet for coffee in the cafeteria and share the challenges of being wholly who we were in that environment. Me, Unitarian, Jenny, lesbian. Not easy in a Catholic hospital. We had a rare opportunity to see ourselves, dear cousins and relatives, in our own environment, our professional best. And later, niece Rebecca would have the same privilege, shadowing her aunt before deciding on a career in medicine. From St. E's, Jenny moved on to Beth Israel, and her co-worker there, another Allison, writes, "She kept me laughing while mentoring me, and I am a big believer in the 6 degrees from Jen theory. I'm always running into someone who knows her at the hospital. Her storytelling game was unbeatable." And coworker Deb adds, "Jenny was always kind and fun and laid back. She'd come to a code and sit on the couch and say, 'Well, what are we going to do here? Looks like we need to go to the ICU,' which lessened the stress of the whole staff. What are we doing here? What's going on? How you doing?" Jenny entered into conversations with questions and invitations, with a hearty laugh, with caring, with ideas and resources, with generosity, with energy, with stories of her own, with a big presence. And John just spoke of all the support Jenny offered when his wife Patty was hospitalized at the end of her life, helping him to navigate the medical systems and advocate for what Patty wanted. And Anne recalls all that Jenny did to prepare for her own death, taking care of others by making decisions no one wanted to make. Everyone knows that a rich, multi-layered tapestry, like a rich, multi-layered life, has its holes and its repairs. It's frayed around the edges. Hold it in one light and a thread gleams. And seen another way, that same thread is not quite as harmonic. Intentions go awry. Determination can show up as stubbornness. The latest news as hearsay, enthusiasm as overwhelm, decisiveness as control. Tapestries and lives are not perfect. They are not meant to be. They are instead treasured for their reality and their staying power and their intricacy. And Jenny was, and Jenny's life is, indeed all of these. We'll hear now from Mark Courtney, a dear co-worker for Jenny. And then after Mark speaks, we'll hear from dear, dear friends Cindy and Sue. Mark.
Good morning. My name is Mark Courtney. I've worked with Jen at Beth Israel since about the turn of the century. Okay. We were only a group of 3 when Jen first joined our team at PI. It was apparent immediately she was kind and lighthearted. The 4 of us went out for a drink and asked if there was anything she was concerned about before joining our group. She said her concern was in telling us she was a vegetarian. Our concern was that she would not come out and have a beer. Luckily, Erica was a vegetarian also, so dietary choices quickly became a non-issue. We became a group of providers that are still frequently referred to as the old guard. Jen had a joyous attitude and an unwavering dedication to her patients. When doing a history and physical, she had the interviewing skills of an investigative journalist. Jen would leave the room knowing more about the person than anyone I had ever known. Her focus was on the social history. Her family history would include details of lineage that could go back a century. It always included a significant detail, many significant details about current living arrangements and who would help at discharge as well. Cardiac surgery is fast-paced. Jen was a leader of the team, and she led by example. She had a professional demeanor and provided excellent care. She was always willing to help solve the problems we faced and would do anything to meet the team's goals. Jen had the capacity to understand and communicate the needs of patients, their families, and the cardiac surgery team. She was a kind and compassionate person in delivering care. She always treated everyone with dignity and respect. Jen was always looking for ways to improve workflow for the cardiac surgery service, and this involved many quality improvement projects. When we first initiated our mechanical support program, everyone was concerned about caring for these devices. Jen and I attended a course at Columbia and returned convinced this would not be a problem. She helped develop our program for open chest resuscitation. It helped save lives. Jen was always at the forefront. She had recommendations to keep the group practicing in an efficient manner and to make sure we followed best practices. We all benefited because of her professionalism. She had the ability to listen to all positions and consider all opinions before recommending solutions to any given problem. She could always be counted on to make recommendations that were geared to providing optimal care to patients while making the system stronger and more efficient. Jen was recognized by all as a valuable resource. It was a privilege to work with her. She navigated a work environment with many strong personalities, some incredibly challenging. She understood interpersonal relationships better than most and kept me on an even keel on a regular basis. She always had a story, whether it was past work experience or nothing at all to do with work. Jen always made me laugh. She is a valued friend. She brought a greater good to this world. Her laugh and smile were infectious. She radiated positivity. When we would meet as a team to discuss anything, Jen's entrance would include, "Yo, yo, what's up?" I don't know if she knew it, but we had a pool to guess how many yo-yos she would open with. It brought us all a chuckle and broke the ice of every meeting. So in closing, I just want to say, yo-yo, Jen, we miss you.
Good morning. I wrote this for Jen. I have lived long enough to know that we are haunted by loss. Its exhausting noise, its weighted images, its disruption derailing our days. Still, somehow, her memory revives us and breathes song into the air, and we rejoice. I've grown up enough to know that time is on loan. Its hurrying march shakes our fragile frames and measures our days. Still, somehow, her memory holds us and remains an abundant blessing, and we rejoice. I know enough to understand how the burden of loss shifts one's balance, how songs dredge up memories, how anger, like stagnant water, contaminates the heart. Still, somehow, her memory floats in and steadies us, and we remain buoyant with retrimmed sails, and we rejoice. The things we feel now aren't easy. There is sorrow. There will be sorrow when hearts break. Let us cherish the blessings we each hold. We shall stand in awe, believing that in time, all will be as beautiful as she was.
To get myself together after that. Jenny and Ann and Sue and I have been the closest of friends for more than 35 years. In this grand span of time, beginning when we were young couples and not yet parents, we have seen one another through all that comes with life over the course of decades. As family, along with the fun, came the rock-solid fundamental knowledge built over years of trust and ice cream that we're there for each other. And in that life-changing moment, when Jenny and Ann called us from their car and we rushed to meet them at the emergency room at the time of Jenny's diagnosis, we had no idea how, over the next 2.5 years, this anchor would come to serve us. From the time our foursome came together in the 1980s, we could talk and laugh for hours. Our kids had their own jokes about us lingering at yet another restaurant until closing. Once, customers at a table adjacent to ours compared us to the woman's talk show, The View, a remark that cracked us up for years. And as you know, when Jenny laughed, really laughed, in that whole body laugh kind of way, you couldn't help yourself. You had to laugh too. The four of us had a festival ritual involving Jenny's chair. There was something delightful about the way she carried it knapsack-like on her back, and it developed into a routine where she would announce that it was that time, and together we would ceremoniously pack it up and strap it on her back. Sometimes it's the small things that form the most meaningful memories. In fact, some of our favorite times with Jenny were the joy-filled family gatherings. Our kids at all ages and stages at the dining room table in Wellfleet. If you knew Jenny, it's likely that you hold some of these easy, chatty, laughing Jenny moments in your heart too. As Allison said, Jenny was a presence, a generous, iced tea loving, resourceful, showing up for people, swimming, planning, taking advantage of opportunities, singing, listening with genuine interest, schmoozing, sharing her opinions, memory wizard who recalled everything about everyone, whether it was something about you, a neighbor's friend's sister's mother's brother, or a celebrity. Jenny remembered it all. Even a few days before she died, when the four of us were watching the new Joan Baez documentary and someone wondered about the current ages of some other musicians of that era, Jenny had the answers on the tip of her tongue. Of course she did. And when Jenny came upon a valuable tidbit related to any performer who Olivia might admire, she was texting within seconds. And then there were the frequent reports from Jenny, "Yo, Ben says we have to see such and such movie." Okay, how many of you have been texted, emailed, or otherwise notified by Jenny about an upcoming concert, show, or event? For years, Jenny was an admirer of singer-activist Holly Near. Holly spoke to something that registered deeply in Jenny. From the Michigan Women's Music Festival in our earlier years to numerous music festivals, and just this summer in Wisconsin, the four of us saw a lot of Holly Near. There's a little story here, and since it was especially meaningful to Jenny and to Ann, Ann has asked that we share it with you. As the very end of Jenny's life was approaching, Sue and I wondered if it might be possible to reach out to Holly Near. We knew it was a long shot, and we also knew what it could mean to Jenny, so we figured we'd give it a try. After a little bit of legwork, miraculously, Jenny was on the receiving end of a beautiful personal email from Holly Near. It delighted Jenny so. And Jenny, now in possession of Holly's personal email address, was able to write back from the heart, expressing her gratitude for the impact Holly had on her life. The people in Jenny's circles, all of you, meant the world to her. Her relationships sustained her until the very end. In the latter part of the year, when her health changed, Jenny felt embraced by her extended family and the caring of friends, coworkers, and others whose lives she had touched. Jenny knew how to live her life, and she knew how to die. In her last weeks, she drew her loved ones close. Her focus, crystal clear, love and connection, that's what mattered. Nothing brought Jenny more pride and pleasure than her beloved Anne, Ben, and Olivia. You brought her joy and filled her heart. Days before she died, to Holly Near, Jenny wrote, "I have a beautiful, full life with my wife of 37 years and our son and daughter. I couldn't have asked for more."
This is from Holly. She signed it.
I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. Sounds so good to hear you singing. Thank you. There is hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. But I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though it burns our eyes. For I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty yoke to hold my confusion. Give me a desert to hold my fears. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder, and give me an It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Oh, lift me up to the light of change. Thank you for singing.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Jenny was a maker of lists. You may be wondering why I'm saying that. A few days after Jenny died, I was going through some of her things, mostly folders and papers. I took her backpack and emptied it out. Inside, I found a folder with lots of papers tucked inside. I actually found about 17 white unlined pieces of paper with her handwriting on each one. There are also 5 tablet-sized papers, 3 white scrap papers, and 3 yellow sticky notes on my desk. The scrap paper and sticky notes she had written most recently. As many of you know, Jenny's handwriting wasn't the best, but I was pretty good at deciphering it. The notes were written in black ink, mostly all caps, and each item had a small circle or square next to it. I looked at all these papers, and several thoughts and feelings went through my mind. First, I said, what a mess. Is there anything important here? Oh, now I have to figure out, do I keep them or throw them away? At this point in my grieving process, I was looking for any signs of life from Jenny. I wanted to hold on to her as much and as long as possible. So I sat down on the guest room bed and started to read. Then I began to cry. Now you're probably wondering why I was so sad about this. It's just her lists. In looking through her list, I realized how much of Jenny came through. She was an optimist. She was always thinking about the next thing to do. She liked moving toward the future. She liked to plan ahead for us and our family. I also noticed that she had so much still left to do in her life. Just so you know, she made many of those lists at night when she worked on C-Surge, that's surgical or surgery, at the hospital during her downtime. She didn't want to forget a thing. Everything was important to her. Her lists weren't organized in any way. For example, here's one I found. Debit card, NYC weekend. Call Jerry. San Diego, places to visit. Old songs tickets. PCE calendar. Anyway. Remember, this is 17, 8.5 by 11 pages of all that was to get done, to do, or to plan. Many lists consisted of TV shows, movies, Broadway shows, theater, books, concerts, podcasts, places to visit, all the things that she wanted to get done, or experience. Her list used to drive me crazy. I didn't get it. My lists are organized by category. or daily tasks. I cross off as I go along, revise and rewrite it. I was in awe of looking over her list. She was a planner. She was my planner. She was our dreamer. Ben, Olivia, and I were the beneficiaries of these lists. She wanted us to have fun, enjoy life, and to join in the activities she loved. These lists showed me that she thought so much in life was possible. It gave a sense of the future. She would always check in with me before she followed through with the idea on the list, and then once I said okay, she would run with it. I often helped plan the details, but she usually made it happen. We were a great team. Looking at the list a little while longer, I realized that she wasn't finished. We weren't finished. It was so hard to realize that at that moment and also now. The last few weeks of the list she made before she died were on some sticky notes. She grabbed them off my desk where she would sit to drink her veggie broth and work a few minutes on the computer. It contained a list of names, people she wanted to call before she died. Let me tell you, some of you here today were on that list. And on those white 8.5 by 11 papers too. She wanted to be in touch with all her people right up to the end. You mattered to her. I have decided to keep her list for now. I want to hold on to them. They are a symbol of the part of her that kept dreaming. My advice to you is not to feel bad if you don't finish your list. Remember to enjoy the journey you are on, because the list never really gets done. Honor Jenny by making sure you keep your list going. Plan ahead. Find your joy. And do those things on the list with the ones you love. And also have fun. Thank you.
So at this point, if you have a brief memory or remembrance to share, this would be a good time to do so. And Allison and I, if you raise your hand, will bring a microphone to you. And we'll do this for several minutes, and then we're going to break for another piece of music, and then we're coming back for another several minutes. So think about it. The floor is open. There's nothing to say. Stand.
Hold it close and say my name. Okay, well, who can get up? I'd just like to say, I'm Rita Guin, mother of Judy and mother-in-law of Brian. Thank you, George and Phoebe. You've all said it all. I'm telling you, I think of Jenny, I laugh. I think of Jenny, I could follow you. And I think you would straighten my kids out for me. So, thank you for allowing me to speak, and I want you all to know I'm really shy. Okay.
My name is Roberta Rosenberg, and I'm a member of Journey Songs. And I've been singing with Journey Songs, which is a hospice choir, for the last 10 years. And I knew Jenny through Journey Songs. And I just need to share with you that she too brought that same joy and that wonderful, wonderful sense of humor and her dedication to the music to all of us. And we're so happy to be here today singing to help you move through this very, very difficult period. So thank you.
My name is Sarah, Rita's daughter and Judy's sister, and I also am not a very public person, and I agree everything has already been said. But I do have to say this. I am also a graduate of the University of Rochester, and Jenny was a year ahead of me. I did not know her personally at that time, but I knew her. And when my sister started dating Brian, they're 2 years younger than me, at Rochester, and Judy said, you have to meet this great guy. And Jenny showed up. I said, I'll never forget, oh my God, Brian is Jenny's brother, you know, because they couldn't have been more different. But I have that memory of Jenny so far removed. I'm not one of her best friends. Yes, I knew her through family gatherings and her kids and her partner and wife. But I'm telling you, that first memory from Rochester will never, ever leave me. Her friendliness, and I just knew. I was like, what? Jenny is Brian. So I wanted to share that, how awesome she was.
Hey, I'm William. I'm Ann's baby brother and uncle to Ben and Olivia. My memories of Jen, the main memory is when Ann would get fired up about something and Jen would say, Ann, relax, Ann, it's not, and whatever it was, and Ann would just be, and at the end of it, Jenny would be laughing, Ann would be laughing, we would all be laughing. Just the best thing. I'm a better person for having known her, and I love you very much.
Hi, my name is Cheryl. I'm married to William, who is Ann's brother. Whenever I saw Jenny, she would always appease me because the thing I would always say to her, because I was a big fan of Grey's Anatomy. So I was constantly asking her if the things that go on in the hospital were the same as on Grey's Anatomy. And she didn't miss a beat. She just constantly would answer my questions and laugh and laugh and laugh. And it was just, you know, it was silly, but it's something I'll never forget.
Hi, my name is Pamela, and I've been their friend for, I don't know, 20 years maybe. and I just, whenever I think of Jenny, as people have said, I just think of someone that's pouring out happiness and laughter. And I would often come over with issues because I live in a two-family condo, and if you don't live in one, you don't know how difficult that is. And I was always having the problems with the other people. And even though it was a serious matter, at the very end we were all laughing, and Jenny would find humor in things that, you know, were causing me to be distraught, and we'd just be hysterical. So she really had a gift for that. I'll miss her a lot.
Hey, I'm Ryan, Jenny's nephew and nephew. I just remember swimming with Jenny at Brewster a few years ago, and I was just amazed, like, you know, even though with her diagnosis, she was still able to get across and we just kept swimming and swimming. I was like, are we really going to the other side of the pond? And she was talking the whole time, telling me stories, telling me about the flotation device you're supposed to have when you're swimming, how people have drowned, and all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't think I could keep talking. I'm gonna go under. Like, I literally was like, I don't swim this much to make it through. But I remember we came back to the shore, and David was sitting there, and we literally are swimming back towards him, and a raccoon just comes right out and like almost attacks him. He lifts up his legs, and I was just laughing. But Jenny always made me laugh, and I just remember that story, just swimming with her at the pond.
So my name is Helen, and I did not know Jenny. I'm a friend of Julia and John. I'm honored to be here. I just want to say to John, I wish I'd known her.
Hi, my name is Sherry, and I think I would like to just share, most importantly, is that how Jenny made me feel. I'm an observer, and I think Jenny always made me feel included and always made me feel love. Just simple. Didn't have to have a lot of words, didn't have to have a lot of connection. You're in the room with her, you're included. And I think that was a special gift that she was able to give to people, just feeling included.
Music. We'll be back.
So if you knew Jenny, you know how Jenny loved music. But I'm sure you also know, as we know, that Jenny loved to sing with people. So this song in particular, we'd love you to sing with us. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, so it's a lovely song by Harry Chapin. I'm going to try doing we're going to do our best Pete Seeger up here, and we're going to teach the chorus. Right? Okay, so I'll do a line, and then repeat back to me. And watch Cindy, don't watch me. She'll guide you fast. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. Try that.
All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown.
Great. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around.
Moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around.
All my life's a circle, still I wonder why.
All my life's a circle, still I
Wonder why. Seasons spinning round again, years keep rolling by.
Seasons spinning round again, years keep rolling by.
Great, you got it. We'll start with the chorus. All my life's a circle,
sunrise and sundown. The moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, still I wonder why. Seasons spinning round again, years keep rolling by.
Seems like I've been here before, I just can't remember when. And I've got this funny feeling that we'll all be together again. no straight lines make up my life. All my roads have bends. There's no clear-cut beginnings. So far, no dead ends. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. Moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, still I wonder why.
Seasons spinning around again, years keep rolling by. I've found you 1,000 times, I guess you've done the same. Then we lose each other, it's just like a children's game. As I find you here again, the thought comes to my mind. Our love is like a circle, let's go round one more time. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. Moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, still I wonder why. Seasons spinning around again, years keep rolling by. All my life's a circle, sunrise and sundown. Moon rolls through the nighttime till the daybreak comes around. All my life's a circle, still I wonder why. Seasons spinning around again, years keep rolling by. Seasons spinning around again, years keep rolling by.
Round two. Say your name, hold it close.
Yeah, my name is Kamal, and I worked with Jenny for at least 15 years at the hospital. And I looked forward to having her take a shift. I loved rounding with her. She made us laugh. She made us love. She made us care. She took amazing care of patients, and she even made me sing on rounds. And Ben, Olivia, thank you for sharing her with us. I know how much effort and how much time she spent away from you, and she made the world a better place. And thank you for bringing her into our lives.
Say your name, hold it close.
My name is Margie. This seems appropriate. Years keep rolling by. I knew Jenny in 1985 and 6 when we were at Duke together. So I know none of you. We always looked forward to Fridays because we had a half day of class. Wasn't really class, it was cadaver lab. And then we would go out to a place and have lots of beer and lots of laughs. Jenny was always there, and it was so fun.
Yeah, I just remember one story when we were driving in Jenny's old orange Volkswagen square back, which was in pretty bad repair. And we were driving to Rochester to take her back to school. And we were in the left lane on the New York State Thruway and had a blowout. And Jenny was driving. And she fought her way across all 4 lanes of traffic into the breakdown lane. It was very harrowing. There was traffic. And she just turned to me and went, "Whoa."
So hi, everybody. I'm Dean Whitehouse. I'm her brother. When we became a blended family, I was starting 6th grade. I was 11, and she was a senior in high school. And so I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her in the house, but a couple things. First of all, I remember that story. We were in the other car behind that. And I think the whole engine blew out, basically, is what happened. But the first thing that I would like to say about her is that her smile was infectious. Her laughter was infectious. And I remember when she came home from Rochester, and I was then in high school, she used to come to pick me up sometimes. And my friends, when I said, "Oh, I'm getting picked up by Jenny," they would come to the car just to see Jenny. And she would always greet me with, "Yo, Dino!" And she would say, "Yo, Dave," and "Yo, Dan," and all of my friends. And she just had that smile, and they all just wanted to be there. Even though I didn't really know her, they're like, "She's so much fun." So that's the first thing I remember and I want to share. The second thing is when she called to tell me about her diagnosis. I was driving, so I pulled over because I kind of knew what was coming. And so I pulled over to a random parking lot, Walmart or something, and she starts telling me what's going on. And of course, as my want, I get a little teary-eyed, and she can sense it. She starts apologizing to me. "Oh, I'm so sorry to give you the bad news." I'm like, "Seriously, Jenny?" She was very caring that way, and I just want to share that.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Eamon Dundon. I'm Jenny's nephew. I think you've heard a lot today about, we have a very large and complicated family tree. And on the Dundon, Duvall, Whitehouse side of the house. And I think the thing that I appreciated most about Jenny is she's really the glue that has allowed us to continue to be a very large and loving and extended family. And that was through sheer personal will of hers to make sure that all the various branches of our family always gathered together. And it gave me and my sister the gift of so many wonderful cousins and aunts and uncles and Gaby and George. And so that's what I love most about Jenny and what I'll miss about her most. But she's given us an amazing foundation to continue on with in this loving, big, complicated family.
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm Jenny's sister-in-law emeritus, as Johnny would say. Anyway, when the kids were little, we would go to the Cape a lot, and it was always like, what do we do? If there wasn't a plan, what do we do? And one day we were trying to decide between the pond and the ocean, and we couldn't decide. And she's like, "We'll just do them both." And I'm like, "Both in a day?" I was looking to Anne to take her down and saying, "No, we couldn't do that." And Anne just kind of threw up her hands, and I knew Sean wasn't going to stop her, so we just went and we did them both in a day, and it was just so Jenny to decide that we could do both in a day, and it was a very fun day. A little hectic, but very fun.
I'm Brian. I'm one of Jenny's brothers. Had a bunch. It was Jenny's. Everything that's being said is true, and a lot of it's about the warmth and the way she pulled people together. She was also incredibly tough, and it's not just the stuff at the end. When we, Dean remembers the date better than me, but when we sort of merged these families, it was quite a dynamic change, and much less so for me. Probably for Dean, who was sweet, and John, who was sweet, and Keith, who was also present. And, but I was obnoxious, and because of the setting, none of you can pile on with that comment. But I was just an obnoxious 17-ish-year-old, and we all came in, and now Jenny had this. They moved John up to the top floor with the rest of us, in a place that you all should be glad you never were. But she had to deal with that huge change in a family dynamic, and we were a bunch of, well, at least one of us wasn't obnoxious, and we sort of would pile together in the way siblings would, and the way maybe we didn't have a right to rib Jenny. We would rib her, and we would rib each other, but we would, as you just saw, but she would get a lot of it because she was sort of the only girl, and sort of on the outside. We went upstairs to the hideous third floor, and she just joined in and rolled along with it and took the sort of, it was, sibling abuse. It wasn't actual abuse, but it was all the ribbing just in stride. So if she caught you at the breakfast table, she would sit down with a tab, which is a soda for those of you who are under 35, and without an agenda for the conversation, because that was never necessary, it would start with, yo, Bri. And it doesn't matter what we were ribbing her about a little while earlier. And that strength then was, sort of more obviously manifested in the last few years. And I'm a physician too, so we would sort of communicate medically a bit more. And she just dealt with it with an astounding amount of strength and grace. I think I'm done.
So, hi everyone. I'm Rachel Whitehouse. I'm married to the third brother, Keith, here. And I've been part of this extended family we've been talking about for 40 years. And I just want to share about how my family, my brothers, David and Alan, and my mother especially, Herta, have been pulled into this family, and the relationship that Jenny and Anne and my mother, Herta, had over the years, and how that came out most recently as we got closer to Jenny's passing. But my mother, after she divorced my father, fell in love with Betty, and Betty and my mother had a wonderful relationship, and my mother and Jenny and Anne spent time together, especially down in Wellfleet, and also would see each other down in P-Town and Herring Cove, and they would often see my mother going by on her bike as she was riding down through P-Town. But just a few weeks ago, when we were rushing to go to the hospice to say goodbye to Jenny, my mother, who passed away several years ago, sent me a message. She said, "Rachel, I need to say something to Jenny." I was like, "Whoa, okay, Mom." And I grabbed a picture of my mother, and I went to the hospice, and I saw Jenny and Anne, and I said to Jenny, I said, "Here's a picture of my mother. She's waiting for you, and she'll take your hand and show you around, and it'll be okay." And I think that love and relationship that goes all the way around our universe, that has the opportunity to grow in a family like this, is really just special, and I wanted to share it. And I'll say one other thing too, which is I can't believe that nobody's brought up Jenny's real estate obsession. And Buzz and Margie. I thought Buzz and Margie were going to be here at the funeral. But if Jenny really enjoyed keeping an eye on what was going on with real estate. So I...
My name's Jim Kincaid, old friend of Jen's. I worked at the Catholic hospital with her for years. The Reverend Allison during those years, but anyway, 16 years together at St. E's. And I had a list for Jen when she left. I think Anna was at the going away party. And I dressed up as a very irreverent version of a Catholic priest. If you recall, Father Guido Sarducci. And I had a top 10 list for Jen, too. And I'm sure you can guess what the 10th thing on that list was. Yo, Jen. And that's all I have to say.
One of the benefits, of knowing Jenny is you had this medical consultant at your beck and call, kind of. And this is in part a thank you to Jenny's colleagues that are here, because although I heard a lot about work through her, I didn't hear any specifics. The HIPAA, she closely observed HIPAA rules. As I know, medicine is a very collaborative art. I know she greatly benefited from work with her colleagues, and but just one experience that really stands out for me is during the peak of the pandemic, when I guess in 2020, when I was doing some work where I had to be in some touchy places and work, and I wanted to do the work, but I'm not a medical person. And Jenny was able to, at the time, somehow get a N95 mask into my pocket, and it gave me a lot of other advice and a lot of support that made me feel okay about it. And I was really grateful to her for that. And there is a picture that no one will ever see, but I'll just describe it, of me I was covering a Trump rally, so I had mask, goggles, and face shield, and gloves. But Jenny's, Jenny's prescription, so I followed it to the T.
Yes, of course.
I just want to talk about the story of Jenny's orange VW Squareback. When Allison mentioned driving that thing without the floor. Okay, so we met at the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center, and we both lived in Brighton in different places, and we used to take the T in, but then she had this Squareback, this VW Squareback. So I used to take the T. I'd take the bus, then I'd take the T, then I had another T, and then I'd get off in Maverick Square. So then she had this car. I said, okay. So she said, I'll drive you home. I said, okay, great, perfect, I love it. So I get in the back, and then there's the whole floorboard, there's like a hole in it. And she has the floor mat covering it, but I'm like, oh, okay, that's why I smell exhaust fumes. And I'm like, okay, well, this is awesome. And then, of course, you go down into the tunnel, which was, I don't know which one it was. And before they had, the extension on the Pike, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die in here. So finally, I get home or whatever. And then the next day or whatever it was, she said, you want to ride? And I said, no, I'll take the T, thanks.
Jenny's death on January 2nd was not unexpected, and yet it still caught us by surprise. Many of us had already bade her a fond farewell, but for others there was no time to say goodbye, or one more, I love you, or this is what you've meant to me over these many years. Those moments increase our sense of loss and make a death feel unreal. And they remind us that we can never say everything we want to those that we love. But in sharing remembrances, as we've just done, words can be said out loud that too long have been held inside. And in telling stories, memories are affirmed and keeping love alive. So let there be more stories, and more tears, and more laughter, and through the days and the weeks and the months, even years to come.
We're going to join in a litany of remembrance, and I will begin, and Allison will follow, and there will be a repeated "We remember Jenny" response. In the rising of the sun and in the going down, we remember Jenny.
In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter,
We remember Jenny. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember Jenny.
And in the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer,
We remember Jenny. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember Jenny.
in the beginning of the year and when it ends,
We remember Jenny. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember Jenny.
when we are lost and sick at heart,
We remember Jenny. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember Jenny.
so long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us as we remember Jenny. Let's take a moment to hold silence together, and each according to our own tradition, listen to what thoughts and prayers and hopes and dreams are stirring in our hearts as we ready ourselves to move on in our lives. Let's hold the silence together. Spirit of life and of love, of steady companionship and strength. We are wanderers coming and going. We are temporary dwellers in this fair place, in hills and valleys, along shorelines and on uplands, in towns and cities near and far, in nations, on continents, on this small spinning ball. We come and we go, and others will come and go after we have gone, as others came and went before us. Each moment of our coming and going is precious. Each day holds all the promises and all the possibilities. What we ask is that we may discern what is important and have the strength to pursue it. What we ask is the wisdom to see the wholeness and to have the patience and perseverance to move toward it. What we ask is that we may walk the earth gently and to touch those we meet with the blessing of respect and the liberation of love. May the Spirit of love wrap us all in her mantle, giving special and gentle care to Jenny's family, to Olivia, to Ben, to Anne. May the Spirit of life hold fast, blessing us with the gift of strong memories for our times together with Jenny. And may the spirit of community endure so that we will always have one another to turn to when loss and grief tugs at our hearts. Amen.
Irish proverbs, sort of. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. So, dance as if no one is watching, sing as if no one were listening, do no harm, live every day as if it were your last. And as you slide down the banister of life, may the splinters not point the wrong way. But if they do point the wrong way, you can trust a physician assistant. Tell stories, make lists, cry unashamedly, laugh exuberantly. How you doing? Love generously, unreservedly, joyously. Love and love again. Yo! Amen. Amen. Salam. Shalom. What's up? Whoa. There is an old Chinese, allegedly, legend about three vagabonds. Nobody knows their names. They are called the Laughing Sages. They would come to a marketplace and begin to laugh, deep belly laughs. People around them would stop in astonishment and then slowly gather to find out what was going on. And the laughter was infectious. One by one, others would join in the laughter, and the shopkeepers would close their doors, and the customers would forget about their buying, and their anxieties and their griefs would dissolve in the laughter. They danced and they laughed, and a whole new world opened up for them. The three laughing sages went from village to village, transforming the world, and then one of them died. And people wondered, what would they do? Their friend was dead. Surely this would sober them. But the two friends danced and celebrated as if nothing had occurred. People asked, "Don't you know that your friend is dead?" And the sages said, "Yes, but our companion laughed all her life. How could we give her a better send-off than by laughing? If we did not do so, she would be laughing at us and say we had fallen into your trap." The people could not understand this strange talk. They wanted to prepare the dead body for the funeral pyre, but the sages said no. The woman had left instructions that there be no ritual, that her body not be prepared, but placed directly on the fire. And it was done. And then the last trick was revealed. She had hidden fireworks under her garments. Suddenly there was a volley. Death was taken by surprise, and the whole world was transformed. Peal after peal of laughter welled up from the hearts of those who had gathered there, releasing painful tensions that had been trapped inside. John and Ben, in Jenny's honor, do it.
And please sing with us this last song, Song of the Soul. Open mine eyes that I may see glimpses of truth thou hast for me. Open mine eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine. Love of my life, I am crying, I am not dying, I am dancing. In the madness, there is no sadness, only a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. What do you do for your living? Are you forgiven? Given shelter? Follow your heart, love will find you. Truth will unbind you. Seek out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Sorry. Come to your life like a warrior, nothing will bore you. You can be happy. Let in the light, it will heal you, and you can feel you. Sing out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along, and we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing